So now we've come back to the first example from the mode section. We have this arpeggio line here. It's played out with a trancy instrument, but we could also play it with the guitar or something. And this is a D Dorian mode. Here D is our bass root note, and apart from D we are only playing white notes here. And let's quickly go back and compare our mode to our A minor scale. So this is our natural A minor scale. We are starting with A as a root note, and then we have one whole tone, half step, and so on. We are only playing white notes in our A minor scale. Now, how do we get to D Dorian? We are taking the three lowest notes of the A minor scale, and we are moving them up one octave. And now we are starting with D, and we are moving up. We are only playing white notes again. And this is called D Dorian. Now, how are these two modes different from each other? Let's go back and select D Dorian and bring it down to the same level with A and compare and see what's different. I'm moving them a bit closer to make it more obvious here. What's going on here? We're starting with the same level, but this is the natural minor and this is a Dorian mode. And the difference now is we're starting with A, B, C, D, no difference here. E, the fifth degree, is still the same, but our difference is in F and F sharp here. So in the sixth degree, the sixth scale degree in the Dorian mode is raised. So this is the degree or the note that defines the character of this Dorian mode, and it also defines the difference from the natural minor scale. So let me move this one back to D now. We're starting with D again, and I'm taking it over here just to have it a bit more separate. You see everything is on the white notes again. So back up here with D as our root note, our sixth scale degree is what defines the character of this mode. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the note B that defines the character of this mode. It's not F. It's not what we raised here because we've moved up now. It's B. It's the sixth scale degree of this mode. Now we can take a look in our example. So we have this note B up here. I'm selecting all of them, and these notes define the character of this Dorian mode. Let's play it back again. Okay, so if we want to work with D Dorian and we want to make sure we put in the Dorian character, we should put in this note, because if we take it out, we are missing the essential piece of this mode. Everything else will be just the same as a normal minor. I'm going to play it with a different note now to show how the character changes with and without playing B. Let's put it down to, say, G. Compared to B. Or playing a D. Or playing an A, for example. And going back to playing the B. So the key point here is if we want to compose in Dorian and we want to make sure our listener actually kind of figures out that emotion, you have to put in this note. Otherwise you can't tell it's Dorian. Now, sometimes you might be starting to compose a song and you're still looking for the right mode to choose from. And actually what you can do is you can, take your root note and move it up and down and see if you can find the right mood. For example, if I'm taking our root note here and I'm moving it up to A, compared to D, that relation from D, our lowest note, to C up here, our highest note, is full of tension because C in this case is the 7th and it's looking for release. It's not really a resting note. That's why overall this entire thing sounds a bit tense. If you want to have it more released, you can put this one, for example, up to A. And in that case, the upper note here, the top note C, A is here, 1, 2 semitones. It's the third, it's the minor third. It's much more stable. It offers this sad or kind of melancholic character of the minor scale and it's quite resting. So playing it back again, there's less tension. That's also important when playing around with modes. I'm going back down to D. Summing up this little example, the function of each of these scale degrees up here totally changes within the context if we're moving up and down with the root note. Just like in this example, we transformed C being the 7th, looking for release, into C being the 3rd for A as a root note, being quite resting. Now, if you establish such a mode like the D Dorian here, what you can do is you can still put in bass changes and still remain more or less in the principal character of D Dorian. For example, you might not want to play all your song just in this arpeggio here. If it's playing in a trance song or with a guitar, doesn't matter. Maybe you want to add changes. Now, we can add changes, for example, here in the end with F and G, but we've established our main character of Dorian for such a long time here that it's absolutely okay to put in slight changes also up here. Of course, we have changes up here, but those are not crucial for those bass notes to work well. We can put those back down to D and the upper part will still be nicely working. Alright, so in the next part we're going to look at a major mode example.